Has Pakistan quietly signed another Saudi-style defense alliance in the Gulf? Is Kuwait now under Pakistan's military protection? And is a new Islamic security bloc emerging in the Middle East? These are the questions dominating headlines after Kuwait officially ratified its defense cooperation agreement with Pakistan. At first glance, the timing appears extraordinary. The Middle East is more volatile than it has been in decades. The United States and Iran remain locked in an escalating confrontation. Israel's military cooperation has expanded beyond Gaza and Lebanon, while Gulf monarchies are increasingly questioning whether Washington can still serve as their unquestioned security guarantor. Against this backdrop, Kuwait has formally approved a military agreement with Pakistan, the only Muslim majority nuclear power and one of the world's largest military forces. To many observers, this looked like another Saudi-style strategic breakthrough. Some even suggested that Pakistan was quietly building a new Gulf security architecture stretching from Riyadh to Kuwait City. But is that really what happened? The answer is both yes and no. Yes, because the agreement carries important geopolitical significance and reflects a broader shift in Gulf security thinking. In fact, one of the biggest misconceptions surrounding this development is that it represents an entirely new military pact. It doesn't. The defense cooperation agreement between Pakistan and Kuwait was actually signed on 11 June 2023 at Kuwait's Ministry of Defense. What happened now is that Kuwait has officially ratified the agreement through an Amiri decree, giving the full legal effect under Kuwaiti law. So why has 3 years old agreement suddenly become international news? Why has Kuwait chosen this particular moment to ratify it? More importantly, what does this reveal about the changing security landscape of the Gulf, the declining confidence in traditional security arrangements, and Pakistan's re-emerging as a key strategic player in the Middle East? To answer these questions, we first need to understand what this agreement actually contains, and just as importantly, what it does not. Let's break down its major components. The agreement places significant emphasis on strengthening military professionalism through joint training exercises, through exchange programs and professional military education. Both countries will regularly train together, allowing their armed forces to share operational experience and improve military readiness. Pakistan and Kuwait have also agreed to institutionalize intelligence sharing. This includes exchanging military and security information, regional threat assessment, and counterterrorism intelligence through formal channels to enhance defense coordination. Another important area is cooperation in military logistics, defense manufacturing, scientific research, and technological development. The agreement creates opportunities for technical collaboration and could support future defense industrial partnership between the two countries. Both sides will cooperate in developing military communication system, electronic network, and defense infrastructure, helping improve technical capabilities and operational coordination. The framework also allows for the regular exchange of military advisors, technical experts, instructors, and specialists, enabling both armed forces to benefit from each other's professional expertise. To ensure the agreement is implemented effectively, a permanent joint committee will oversee annual cooperation plans, organize official military visits, and coordinate joint activities between the two countries. Recognizing the sensitive nature of military cooperation, the agreement includes strict confidentiality provisions to safeguard classified information and prevents its disclosure to third parties without mutual consent. The agreement will remain in force for an initial period of 5 years and will automatically renew unless either side formally decides to withdraw. Any disagreement over the implementation of the agreement will be resolved through political consultation and diplomatic dialogue rather than international courts or arbitration. Taken together, These provisions make one thing very clear. The Pakistan-Kuwait Defense Cooperation Agreement is an institutional framework for military cooperation, training, logistics, intelligence sharing, and technical collaboration. Now the question arises, how is it different from Pakistan's strategic mutual defense agreement with Saudi Arabia? This is where much of the confusion begins. Many commentators have compared the Kuwait agreement to Pakistan's strategic mutual defense agreement with Saudi Arabia. While both agreements strengthen military cooperation, they are fundamentally different in their purpose, scope, and legal obligations. If you look at the core purpose, the Pakistan-Saudi Arabia agreement signed in September 2025 is a strategic mutual defense agreement based on the principle of collective security. Its central idea is simple. An attack on one country is treated as an attack on both. If either Pakistan or Saudi Arabia comes under external aggression, the other is expected to provide military assistance. On the other hand, the Pakistan-Kuwait agreement, by contrast, contains no such mutual defense agreement or guarantee. It is purely a defense cooperation agreement focused on strengthening institutions and military capabilities. The Saudi agreement opens the door to extensive military integration, joint operational planning, combined deterrence, and potentially large-scale force coordination during national crisis. The Kuwait agreement does none of this. It specifically avoids combat commitments, although reports suggest Kuwait has expressed interest in expanding future cooperation to include Pakistan ground forces, fighter aircrafts, and air defense system in response to growing regional tension. Pakistani officials have clarified that combat deployment is not currently under consideration, neither is it in the agreement. If you look at the scope of the cooperation, the Saudi agreement is strategic in nature. Because Pakistan is the only Muslim majority nuclear armed state, the broad language of the agreement has fueled international debate about whether Riyadh is effectively gaining access to an extended, conventional, and potentially strategic deterrent umbrella. The Kuwait agreement is much narrower. Its focus remains on military training, intelligence, cooperation, logistics, defense technology, communications, joint manufacturing, and even softer areas such as military media, cultural exchanges, and sports activities. The Saudi agreement was negotiated and signed at the highest political level by Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, reflecting a strategic transformation in regional security. The Kuwait agreement, on the other hand, is administered primarily through military institutions. A joint military committee oversees implementation, prepares annual cooperation plans, organizes official visits, and ensures that confidential defense information is protected under strict legal safeguards. So this is the huge difference. Now the question arises, why does the ratification matter now? If the agreement itself is not new, why has its ratification attracted so much attention? The answer lies in timing. The Middle East today is dramatically different from the region of 2023 when the agreement was first signed. Following Israel's airstrikes in Doha, Qatar on 9th September 2025, which targeted Hamas political leaders, many Gulf governments began reassessing their security assumptions. Regardless of differing interpretations of the event, it reinforced concerns that regional conflicts could increasingly spill into Gulf territory. For many Gulf states, the deeper concern was whether the United States would always respond quickly and decisively during future crises. Combined with continuing tension between the United States and Iran, these developments have encouraged Gulf monarchies to diversify their security partnership rather than relying exclusively on a single external guarantor like US. The broader strategy is known as security hedging. What is meant by that? Instead of choosing one side, Gulf states are building multiple security relationships simultaneously. They continue to cooperate with the United States while also strengthening ties with countries like Pakistan, even China and other emerging partners. But much focus is on Pakistan. Their objective seems very straightforward. With changing security situation in the Middle East, reduce dependence on any single security provider, manage tension with Iran through a mix of deterrence and diplomacy, protect ambitious economic transformation program that requires long-term regional stability, secure trade routes, energy exports and critical infrastructure against present and future instability. Why Pakistan role is growing again? Viewed together, the Saudi and Kuwait agreement point to a broader geopolitical trend. Pakistan is gradually re-emerging as one of the Gulf's most important security partners, especially a limited war between India and Pakistan, where Pakistani forces proved their mettle. Things have changed afterwards. With one of the Muslim world's largest professional armed forces, an expanding defense industry, and nuclear deterrence capabilities, Pakistan offers something few other regional states can: a combination of military expertise, strategic credibility, and geopolitical influence. For Gulf monarchies, Pakistan represents an additional pillar of regional security. For Pakistan, these agreements are equally significant. They strengthen defense diplomacy, deepen military cooperation, attract Gulf investment, obviously improve energy security, and reinforce Pakistan's strategic importance within the Gulf Cooperation Council. At the same time, the growing role also creates diplomatic challenges. Pakistan has historically maintained balanced relations with both Saudi Arabia and Iran. Now, as the war is going on between Iran and United States of America, and Pakistan is playing the role of a mediator, but that MOU that was signed, that is no more there. Pakistan is again trying to bring both countries on the talking table, and because Pakistan is again has become a very involved player in Middle East, because once on the one hand it has a strategic relations and strategic agreement with Saudi Arabia, now an agreement with Kuwait. Now the things are expanding for Pakistan as well. Now Pakistan will have to balance its relation with Iran and the Middle East, and especially the Gulf countries. Let's see how the things unfold.